Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Welcome in the Friday edition of Indiana Sports Beat. How are you? Hope your day is going well, up to a great start. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Jim Coyle sitting in with you, as always. Justin Kalen high top the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Let's get to the headlines.
All right, here are your headlines for the day. Brought to you, well, hang on a second. You just went into those headlines way too quickly this morning. All right, now let's go for the headlines on this Friday, November 30th. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. The Cowboys defeat the Saints 13-10 last night on Thursday Night Football, snapping the Saints' 10-game winning streak. Big weekend upcoming for the Hoosiers as men's soccer hosts Notre Dame, number 13 Notre Dame, at 7 o'clock tonight in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament with an opportunity to go to the College Cup. Basketball starts Big Ten play tomorrow versus Northwestern. That game at 1 p.m. Make sure to stay tuned and follow Indiana Sports Beat on all social media to stay informed on the Hoosiers this weekend. Those are your headlines for this Friday, November 30th. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
And welcome back in. Thanks a lot for coming along today. Hope things are going well for you. Make sure you hit us up on the text line. Questions, comments, thoughts, whatever. 812-269-6367. Let us know what you're thinking. Let's get it going today. Big day. Big program, as always, on Friday. Big Friday. Lance Stemler's on the show. We'll talk some IU basketball. And Kirk Haston on as well. So a big day. Kirk recently elected to the state representative of Tennessee. Talked to him about his governorship. Governor Hastings, as I will be calling him from now forth.
Who knows? Maybe one day president.
Looking forward to talking to Kirk. Nothing can ever replace. Oh, he cannot run for president.
Why's that?
Apparently, you do not remember our Derby special last year when Kirk was on.
I'll delete it.
Too late. It's out.
That's true.
We may have to replay that. I did a Derby special last year, and I did put an Indiana spin on it. I had a bunch of Indiana people on. Coach Mallory was on. This was the last show that he was on. But Kirk Haston asked me if he could name his own horse for the Derby, and I'm like, I don't care. You can do whatever you want. And he come up with a very unique name. I'm assuming you can't pull that up.
I'm looking right now to see if we've got it.
But it was something. Let's just say that. And he went right into the call of the race and everything. We can get that pulled up.
Well, the Derby favorite is, of course, Who Smelt It and Dealt It. But this is, I think it's because of his. This heart has such a big heart, and it's going to be it's not going to be the favorite, but it'll be one that gets a lot of action. His Hearted, Hearted, and we're just going to really pull for him down the stretch. So we'll see how this goes.
How do you think it's going to turn out?
Well, I think it's going to go something a little like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day at the Derby. We're getting ready to get set, and they're off. Well, Hoof Hearted is really sticking it up out of the gate, but hopefully they'll pull it out down the stretch. Man, I really am disappointed. Or Hoof Hearted is pulling out. It's going past Charmin. Hoof Hearted is coming down the stretch. Hoof Hearted is picking up ground on Who Smelt It, They Dealt It. Hoof Hearted. Unbelievable! It is unbelievable. If people are throwing, there's toilet paper everywhere. Hoof Hearted wins.
Unbelievable. Make-believe call of the Derby by Kirk Haston and his own made-up horse last year. What a
so
character,
we still
man!
had that.
What a character! That just doesn't get old.
No.
Hoof-hearted, hoof-hearted. Get it? Hoof.
I get it.
Man, funny stuff. If Kirk Haston's on the show today, I guess he can't do that anymore. He's now a state representative of the fine state of Tennessee. but I think that's why they elected him. He is a very unique character.
Yeah.
And fortunate to have him on the program today. So if you got any questions or comments, make sure you get them in on the text line, 812-269-6367. Hope your day's off to a good start. Let us know what's going on. Big weekend in Hoosier sports, like Justin mentioned. Tonight, the men's soccer program takes on Notre Dame, the number 1 ranked Indiana Hoosiers, taking on number 13 Notre Dame for a spot at the College Cup that's taking place out in Santa Barbara, California. The Final Four of men's soccer will be set after this weekend. Kentucky is taking on Maryland for their shot at it. And then Michigan State, a third Big Ten team, is they knocked Louisville out. They are vying for a spot as well. And then Akron and two-time defending champion Stanford in the other bracket.
A lot of tough teams left.
Stanford came in like seeded 9th. They're the highest seeded team in that bracket. Akron is not even seeded, but they knocked off Wake Forest. So, a little odd bracket there, but lots going on. And tomorrow, the basketball program back at it, and they have to rebound from that loss to Duke this past Tuesday as they open up Big Ten play on Saturday at 1 o'clock against Northwestern, the Northwestern Wildcats coming in. So, a test for them to see and see if they play a little bit better, a little bit more fluid. You got guys back now for a little longer. Will we go see Race Thompson yet? Man, Race Thompson's someone who desperately is needed because with the loss of Jerome Hunter and the disappearance of Justin Smith, he's needed.
Yeah.
Definitely needed down there on the block. So we'll see.
We'll thin at the forward position.
Well, yeah, but unnecessarily.
Sure.
Justin Smith shouldn't be making it thin, but he is. Mr. 48-inch vertical leap and his 2 rebounds. Hit us up with any questions, comments on the text line. Like I said, 812-269-6367. Let's get that thing fired up and rolling today. And let us know what's on your mind. It's a free open Friday, as always. There's never a charge. It's always a free open Friday.
That's what it be. People like free.
Yeah, how about the last days of night?
Oh, yeah.
Broadcast last night on ESPN.
Did you watch it?
I started to. I fell asleep, man.
I got home about 7:30. Ironically, that's what time it started. It went 7:30 to 9:30. I sat down on my couch with the intention of watching Cowboys Saints. Well, my TV was already on ESPN, so needless to say, I didn't turn it off. I watched the whole days of night. And I was slightly disappointed by it. It became more of a story about Neil Reed as opposed to Coach Knight, which I get it. Neil Reed was a huge part of that, but I wanted to hear a story on Coach Knight, which
well, you did. It was the
I
last
did. I
days
know,
of
but
night.
it formed into at the end of the program.
But that's what formed the last days of
right.
night.
But then they went into Neil Reed, what he's doing now, or what he was doing now, and just all that. I didn't need to see all that, but overall, I thought it was real good.
Why? It's part of the story.
I know, but
what?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't
you can't
know.
not know.
I don't know what.
You have to articulate that. That's why it's a talk show.
I get that they are connected at the end, Bob Knight and Neil Reed, but I just don't know why you need to hear what Neil Reed went on to do.
So how long did that take?
Well, it was a good, solid 20 minutes, last 20 minutes or so of the program.
Well, he's deceased.
Right. I know that. They go through that in the show. But, yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was really good. It was an insight to a lot of things that you don't really quite know that was going on.
Tell me something you learned that you didn't know.
Well, I mean, I knew that Bob Knight was abusive and like would cuss at his team and whatnot, but it was just the depth in which that they showed that on the 30 for 30 was pretty mind blowing to me. Like why anybody would want to go play for Indiana and play under him is beyond me. I wouldn't want to deal with all that as an 18-year-old kid, but They showed a number of guys in the program that did want to deal with it and were fine with his coaching style. But
the funny thing is, people say, "Oh, well, you knew what you were going to play." No, I don't think you really do. You don't see. That's the thing. They don't know the depth of how deep that stuff went. So no, they didn't know. Yeah, knowing somebody cusses and yells, that's one thing. Yeah. I had that all my athletic career. I don't care. It didn't bother me. It's the mind games. Yeah. It's all the other stuff.
Yeah, and that's one thing they mentioned several times is the fact how he would play mind games with his players and just make them feel uneasy at all times. Like it seemed like they were constantly in a war zone. So it was neat to see.
There's the diehard Knight zealots that doesn't matter. He can do no wrong to them, which is sad because he did a lot of wrong.
Right.
And they want to talk about the good, and that's great. But you know what? There's a point to where it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care how. I don't care. I don't care you gave $1 million to the library. I don't care. Yeah. You did this. So it's funny how people. I grew up in the Knight era. He was a great coach. He was a genius. He was a trendsetter. He changed the game. But he also had a very, very dark side that was not necessary for the game, was not necessary for the team. Now, part of that was his greatness, and I understand that. But I think he'd have gotten more success. That's the sad thing. I think he'd have gotten more success had he not been so
the way he was.
Yeah. I can't. I'm lost at a word to put on it, but
and that was the hardest part for me watching it last
I guess.
night was the fact that this coach did all this great stuff for Indiana University, but there was this second layer of stuff that a lot of people didn't see, and it had to be peeled back on this 30 for 30. So I don't want to say I lost respect for Bob Knight, but I lost respect for Bob Knight.
Oh, I lost that a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, let me say what little I had left. Yeah.
As a human,
correct.
Not as a coach. His accolades don't change as a coach. His success doesn't change as a coach. As a coach, one of the greatest of all time. Yep. There's no argument there. There is no argument to be made. Because there's nothing that will step onto that. He is what he is in the coaching ranks, and that's greatness. But that does not give you license to do the things that he did to people, to treat them how he treated them. There are things that they didn't even talk about. Yeah. I bet they didn't talk about throwing a plan at his secretary. They didn't talk about him.
They briefly mentioned, they didn't mention what he did, but they did mention the secretary and how she faced some abuse. But they didn't.
His secretary, his secretary of 40-something years, a woman. You see that the people have no idea. But they don't want to know. I don't think. I think that the true Knight zealots, they don't want to know that stuff.
Kicked the athletic director and the president out of practices.
And see everybody think, "Oh, it's funny." Yeah. No, it's not. It shows for someone who tries to demand respect. That is the most disrespectful. He commanded respect, but yet he was disrespectful.
Sure. I thought it was. I did get a little humor out of the.
He wanted. Oh, I can't pull up the word, but go ahead.
I thought it was funny. I got a little humor out of the fact that, or when he kicked the school president out of this practice, and he looked up at him and said, "I don't come into your office and talk while you're trying to work. Get the hell out of here." That was pretty funny. Because, it's true, but at the same time, that's
just not being a dick.
Right, yeah, for no reason.
Someone talking in practice, really?
Right.
Really? I promise you, had that been one of his cronies, which had happened several times, that doesn't happen. And that shows you the level of abuse that he was, because he thought he was untouchable. He thought he was the most important person in the world in his mind, that he was unstoppable.
It's a dangerous way to think.
It cost him, and he'll go to his grave secretly. I don't know if he can even admit to himself, but he'll go to his grave not being the revered, loved person he could have been at Indiana.
Yep.
And still could be had he allowed that to happen.
Sure.
But he has chosen to take a path. And some of the clips they showed last night of him thanking the students and thanking this and that and the other thing, now he craps on them every chance he gets by talking about Indiana University in a negative light. Indiana University didn't fire him. People fired him. People that are dead and gone.
Yep.
But yet he holds that against Indiana University because he's got no one else to hold it up against, and because Indiana University itself is not going to offer a fight. And he knows that. And he uses that to his abusive advantage.
Sad, really.
It's very sad. It's horrible sad. Because here's a man who would be the most revered man in the history of the state, possibly in this sport, had he allowed that to go down that way. But he didn't. He thinks he's right, and he's not.
Ignorant old man.
He thinks that contrition is weakness. He cannot acknowledge his own behaviors and accept responsibility for that. Which, for someone who lived on discipline, he's the most undisciplined person I've ever seen.
Sure. Yeah, it was wild. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, you got to. After soccer, though, right?
Well, maybe before.
Ooh, good call.
Jim's got to have a nap today. It's been a long, long week.
Did you at least take those 3 days in North Carolina as somewhat of a vacation?
Are you kidding me?
Didn't chill out at all.
I got back from Cameron Indoor at 4 a.m. Was on the air at 6.
I was worried about you that day.
Rough. Hey, we got a lot coming up on the show today, though. Lance Stemler's on the show. We'll talk some IU basketball and Kirk Haston as well. We got a lot to get to. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beats coming right back after this.
I know I ought to save it, but it's burning a hole right through my pocket and into my skin. Come Monday morning, I'll be broke again. It's finally Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's finally Friday, I'm out of control. Forget the working blues and let the good time roll.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Kentucky Inez Premier Truck Center. With locations in Louisville and Clarksville, sales or service, they've got you covered. Kentucky Inez Premier Truck Center. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, November 30th. Hope you're having a great day and a great start. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you're doing. We appreciate it. Hope things are going well. Hit us up on the text line. Let us know what your thoughts are. 812-269-6367. Another big news, Jeff Brom, of course, staying at Purdue. How does that affect Indiana? They made an arrest in the quote-unquote terroristic threatening of Trinity High School where Jeff Brom went, in which a guy just sent out a tweet, well, if Brom doesn't come, we burn Trinity down. And, my God, you'd have thought the Russians were coming.
Did you see that as a threat?
No. First of all, when the guy says I'm standing out front with a gas can and matches, I got an idea. Look.
Yeah.
You see anybody? You see anybody standing out there with a gas can and matches?
Well, he said if you see
And if you're going to do something, are you going to announce it right before you do it?
Well, you never know. There's some dumbasses out there.
Well, there's no doubt to that. And that guy's one of them.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it as a threat either, but I do think he maybe crossed a little bit of a line when he sent the second tweet that said, if you see me walking down the street with a gas can and a match, it's me. That I don't know that would classify as a threat, but it's teetering on the line.
Man, that's it's stupid. Don't get me wrong. It's ridiculously stupid. But I think it's also stupid overreaction. But it's goofy stuff. But he's staying at Purdue, and that's going to change the landscape of Big Ten basketball. Period. Let's talk about that with Sammy Jacobs. Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. How are you, sir?
Thank God it's Friday.
I'm hearing you, man. I bet you've had a rough week. students getting all over the place, you're chasing kids.
It's I don't know. It's like Jurassic Park. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh man, that's the funniest thing you've ever said. Oh, Jeff Brom. I was talking about Jeff Brom, and him staying at Purdue. That's gonna change the landscape of the Big Ten, and I think that's going to affect recruiting for Indiana to a degree for in-state skilled players. I guess I should say that's kind of where they cross paths in state, but I think it's going to have an effect on Indiana.
Yeah, it will. Purdue will always have an effect on Indiana. History will show that when IU is good, Purdue is historically not great, and stuff like that. So it's one of those cause and effect cases. It will affect recruiting until IU could say, hey, we've got an innovative offense. You should come down to Bloomington. And things like that, which is why it's important that guys get put in the NFL and skilled guys go to the NFL and make NFL rosters and all that stuff. So you can point and say, hey, we put this guy, that guy, and this guy in the NFL. If you want to play at the next level, come here. We'll give you the opportunities, and you can put up the points and all that stuff to make an impact and go to the next level.
Yeah, unfortunately, they can't say that right now. As far as putting up a lot of points and doing all that. But Purdue can, and that's going to be a big draw for a lot of people like David Bell. That's going to have to make Purdue very attractive to him. You got Rondale Moore there. What a two-headed monster that would be.
Yeah, that would be a really dangerous duo for the next 2 or 3 years to face in the Big Ten. And you got Elijah Sindelar coming back, who's a big armed quarterback, and then you have Jack Plummer, who's a 4-star guy behind Sindelar, ready to take over the reins when he graduates. And, the one thing that Darrell Hazel did well at Purdue was recruit quarterbacks, and that's people always ask, why did Purdue bounce back so quickly, and why has IU struggled? Well, Indiana was left with almost a bare cupboard at quarterback. They had a lot of attrition at that position. Kevin Wilson didn't recruit it as well as he should have, and and Purdue was left with David Blau, who's an Elite 11 finalist, Elijah Sindelar, who was a big recruit out of Kentucky, and then then Jeff Brom brings in his guys and Plummer and you can build, and they have bridges from one guy to the next, and there's no drop off. So that's you want my reasoning on why Purdue is a step ahead of IU and all that stuff. It starts and ends at the quarterback position.
With Purdue keeping Jeff Brom and the school president basically getting involved, former Governor Mitch Daniels, and I haven't heard anything about a contract, but rumors are that it's bumping up to $6 million a year. Does that not put Indiana in an awkward position of having the lowest paid staff, the 65th lowest paid staff in the country? Does that not make Indiana look like they're not committed to football?
I mean, I don't think it makes it look any worse than it was. It's not all of a sudden looking bad is what I mean. It does make it look a little bit worse because Purdue had all these financial problems with the athletic department under their previous athletic director, and now they're using that Big Ten money. They built a beautiful new facility, football-only facility. They renovated the stadium a little bit. They're finding new ways to get revenue by selling alcohol in the stadium. And then, if they are paying him, they're paying him already between $3 and $4 million a year. And if they're bumping it up a couple $1 million a year, fans and people who enjoy IU football and want IU football to be good have to be sitting there scratching their heads going, yeah, what money does Purdue have that IU doesn't have? Because Ross-Ade only holds like 6,000 more people than IU and things like that. So you're getting the same amount of money from the Big Ten Network. Basketball program probably makes more money than Purdue, but basketball is not paying for anything. And so, you know, what do you have to do to catch up in attendance? Yeah, Purdue had an increase in attendance. I think it was like 13,000 seats from 2016 to 2017, and this year it looked like that place is always full and things like that. So, yeah, it looks bad that you're paying Allen, I believe, under $2 million.
1.8.
Yeah, so 1.8, and Jeff Brom is getting basically, if it is 6, would be triple that. So yeah, you got to sit there and go, okay, what are we doing here? Do we really want to win? Do we want to give Tom Allen the tools to win? Do we want to give the football program all the tools necessary to win before you hamstring yourself? And I've said this a number of times. IU's athletic department needs to get to the point where all IU football has to do is concentrate on winning and not have to beg for money for staff, worry about having goose droppings on the bleachers and parking shenanigans and all that stuff. So IU's athletic department,
$70 ticket prices.
Yes, and they got to figure out. They got to make it off the field as easy as possible to get people into the game and have just the team concentrate on winning. And that starts with base pool for assistants, and if Tom Allen's your guy, pay him like he's your guy.
But see, does paying Tom Allen more do anything? Because the reason he's making 1.8 is because that's the most he could get. There was no one beating down the doors to get Tom Allen to be their head coach that I'm aware of. And so they're paying him 1.8 because they can. They're paying Jeff Brom what they're paying him because they had to keep him. That's the difference.
Yeah, but if Tom Allen's your guy, pay him like he's your guy, not like you went to the cheapest option. It's an optics thing.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be better off putting that money in the defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator? Because right now they're hurting in both. With Tom Allen is a great defensive coordinator, and it's sad for Indiana to me that they don't have him as a defensive coordinator. While he is in a way, but he's diluted because of the head coaching responsibilities. And I think that's part of the regression in addition to the youth and the loss of 8 starters. But and that's been a topic of discussion of him relinquishing that duties. But they can't just have one. They've got to have someone who's good like he was. He was a difference maker when he came in with Wilson. I mean, man, you talk about taking a defense from worse to better. He did it. He did a hell of a job at it, and he's great at that. But he's being diluted with the head coaching duties, and I think the defense has suffered because of it.
Yeah, and I said after the Minnesota game that he needs to give up defensive coordinator duties. As good as he is at defensive coordinator, he's the head coach, and yeah, you could kind of oversee some of the stuff on defense, but you can play calling duties and things like that. If he wants to be involved in the game planning, I think that's good for IU, but he needs to give up basically the day-to-day duties so he could look over the rest of his team and do what he needs to do to be successful. And if that means IU needs to increase his pool for salaries so they could go out and get a top-notch offensive coordinator and fill out the rest of the staff if there's changes, that's what they need to do.
We'll certainly find out. I suspect that Mike DeBoer will be retiring, but that's just a guess because I think Indiana has been forced into making a move after a season of offensive ineffectiveness and clamoring. They have to do something, and I think that's the easiest thing for them to do. But we'll see. That's just a total guess on my part.
Do they have to do something? Yeah. Will they do something? Well, we'll see. We'll see. They need to do so because it's becoming stale, and you and I know as well as all the fans. We've gotten the comments on social media and on our sites. They're at the point where they're either apathetic or they're just angry, and you're crossing that border from angry into apathetic. And you saw that with the drop in attendance, even though there are some mitigating factors in terms of you didn't host Ohio State and Michigan. The weather didn't really cooperate all year, but you saw when the weather was perfect at homecoming, it was a tiny crowd against Iowa. The Bucket game was a nice crowd, but in all honesty, that game should have been sold out. It was really good for the last game in November and things like that. So, yeah, there are other factors in there that probably drove that number down a little bit, but it definitely was not an increase in ticket sales or butts and seats this year.
All right, brother, I know you got to get off to school. I appreciate you joining us, and then look forward to doing it again. We'll talk about the results of the Big Ten championship that's going on this weekend between Ohio State and Northwestern. I know you got to get going, but we'll talk about that Monday.
Sounds good.
All right, brother, you have a great day. Thanks a lot for joining us. Sammy Jacobs from HoosierHuddle.com. Make sure you check out that content. Thanks, Sammy. As always, Sammy Jacobs joins us from HoosierHuddle.com, and look forward to talking to him. We got to take a break. When we come back, we got more to talk about. Talk about the Big Ten Championship coming up this weekend. In addition, Kirk Hastings on the show today, and Lance Stemler. Big Friday. Come back here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number. alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. Today's guest is brought to you by Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when Mother Nature strikes. BrooksRoofingIN.com. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, November 30. Hope your day is off to a great start. Big show today. We've got Kirk Haston, Lance Stemler, both on the program today. Now we're joined by Drew Davis from Peaks.com. Drew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Great. Back from North Carolina, long trip. Got to visit with the family while I was down there, but Indiana's got to bounce back from that trip as it was a big loss, but it wasn't just a loss. They didn't play particularly well in that game. A lot of things that need to be rectified. Turnovers for one, but the 3-point shooting, that's been a topic of conversation. They'll have a game where they shoot percentage-wise well, but that's usually because one particular player has gone 4 for 4 or something in a night. And to me, it's skewing their shooting because I don't think it's not been a secret. They're not a big-time 3-point shooting team, but they continue to try to do that. Not very successful the other night.
No, the 3-point shooting has not been an area of strength for this team, and it's probably not going to be an area of strength for this team. You heard Archie Miller, at the beginning of the season, he said this team's going to be a team that aspires to drive the basketball and get to the free throw line, more so than a team that aspires to get, shoot a bunch of threes. But, it is what it is. It kind of at this point, it's going to be tough for Indiana to find, a ton of success, I think, from, long range. But I think they can be respectable from out there. It's just going to take some time with, getting those guys back. I think Devontae Green could help with that, But at the same time, he hasn't exactly shot the ball well, so we'll have to see on that. But it's definitely a concern for Indiana because it makes them a lot easier to defend than a team that can actually shoot the ball and spread the floor.
Yeah, and the 3-point shooting, it's not, like I said, it's not a secret. Archie had made no bones about that was not their milieu. But the point of getting to the free throw line is because they're not shooting free throws very well either as a team.
No, it's another area they've struggled in, But I want to say last year Indiana shot around maybe in the upper 60s. I'm not 100% on that, but the free throw line has been an area that they've struggled in the last 2 years, and obviously they do get fouled, and if you're not going to be able to shoot the three and you're going to drive the basketball on the rim and go to the free throw line, you have to cash in on your opportunities, and you can't leave points out there like that.
Oh, absolutely, and especially when that's a part of your offense and your game plan is to get to the free throw line, you certainly have to take advantage of that. But getting this team back up to where they were at the start of the season when there was a lot of hype and a lot of expectation coming off of the the secret scrimmage with Loyola Chicago. They played it very, very well. They played it as a unit. But things have not gone as planned since then, for various reasons. The injury bug has definitely hurt them, without doubt. But there's also been a drop in play from people like Justin Smith, who is a complete head-scratcher to me as to what is going on with him.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Joe, I'm kind of surprised with the play of Justin so far. I honestly thought in the offseason, I thought he'd be a guy that was competing to be your third or fourth option on the offensive end. But with him right now, he's not playing with very much confidence at all. He's done some head-scratching things. Like, for example, he bodies up Zion Williamson somewhat and stays in front of him and forces a miss. But then he goes down and brings down the rebound and tries to take it coast to coast and drive down and dunk over three guys, and he picks up a charge. Justin's got to play a lot smarter. There's no reason to drive into a crowd of people and risk picking up a charge for a reckless play and whatnot. He's got to be smarter, and he's got to play with some more discipline. And right now, he's also shying away from contact down low, and that's not been good. So he's going to have to pick it up for Indiana, and they need him to pick it up desperately. And we'll see what happens the rest of the season with him. But it's not been an encouraging start so far.
No, and it really, really magnifies the loss of Jerome Hunter, who would also be playing in that same spot. Man, getting him back would be very, very good for that program.
I know. Having Jerome Hunter would at least give you another, athletic body on the wing you could turn to. But obviously, Jerome was starting to come into his own before he got hurt. But still, even if he is going to get cleared, let's just say, for example, this is just an example that Jerome gets cleared in January. But just because he's cleared to play basketball in January doesn't mean he's going to be ready to play basketball in January. There's a difference between being cleared and being, ready to play. So it's going to take time with Jerome, and where I think it gets interesting is if it's like late January or somewhere around there when he can come back, and he's not ready, it's going to take, a little bit more time for him to work in, then you have to wonder, will they do, a red shirt and just not even burn this year? We'll just have to play, wait and see what they do there. But that's going to be an interesting decision for them.
Absolutely. Demezie Anderson was a little surprised to me that he did not play more in that Duke game. I mean, he played the mop-up minutes, like less than 2 minutes, I think. So, especially with what they were needing, I was a little surprised we didn't see him out there.
Yeah, at the same time, I think Archie Miller's probably thinking, with the pressure that Duke was putting on the basketball, he would, prefer not to maybe have Demezie out there because sometimes Demezie will get rushed and he'll make some turnovers.
But I don't get that because the way the game was going, Justin Smith had 5 turnovers. He was playing terribly. It was not. I don't think that Demezie could have done any worse than anybody else was already doing.
Right. And another thing to think about is, Justin Smith was guarding Zion Williamson earlier for that large portion of, the first couple minutes. The other thing I was thinking about maybe is they didn't want to have to put Demezie in a matchup with Zion, which is obviously just really not favorable at all. So I think that probably played into it as a defensive end. That's probably the biggest reason for it of all.
And I'll tell you, somebody who is really, I've got to try to give as much. I'm trying to give as much credit to as possible as their play has been Deron Davis. I mean, this dude is. It's like he's going above and beyond right now because we know he's been struggling with injuries and getting back to form from last year. But it certainly is not from a lack of effort. I mean, when you can see that Justin Smith is not playing well and not doing things, you can also see that Deron Davis is, man, he's given the effort. And if it wasn't for him, they would be in much worse shape than they are right now.
Yeah, Deron, he's been all, solid. And he's probably, put enough, effort in for a guy that's coming off an injury. But, you look at the front court minutes and you compare the numbers of Justin Smith, De'Ron Davis, and Evan Fitzner, and you look at turnover rate, and obviously Evan Fitzner is the best in that. You look at the offensive rebounding rate. Evan Fitzner is right there leading the way in that. And then you look at the defensive rebounding rate. Fitzner also leads in that. But De'Ron's second, pretty much all of those, statistical categories to Fitzner. And then if you look, what's even more amazing is you compare Justin's numbers to them, and they're very low. And you look at the thing that's very concerning to me, and I look and I see, obviously Fitzner and De'Ron have, defensive rebounding rates both above 17. And you look at Justin Smith, who has his defensive rebounding rate right at 10%. And that's pretty awful. Honestly, you're a front court player, and you only have a
front court player
like
with a 48-inch vertical leap.
I know, and that's what makes it even more surprising. And you look at De'Ron, and he's not exactly the most athletic because he's still coming off that injury, but he still has a defensive rebounding percentage, or his number's right at 17. So there's no reason that Justin's number can't at least be there. Is the way I'm looking at it.
I agree. I think that De'Ron Davis has given a yeoman's effort. Just when he's in there, he's trying, man. He's giving you his all, and love seeing him play. You can tell he wants to get back to where he was 2 years ago, and to do it with knowledge, the experience that he has. If they could get him back, he could actually be a difference maker for this team. Now, maybe not for 40 minutes, of course, but he can certainly provide maybe 20 good minutes once he gets back up to full steam.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal. That's where you want to get to with Archie Miller and the staff and De'Ron. And I don't think De'Ron's ever going to be, great, and that's just not really his fault, honestly. That Achilles injury is just brutal. It's brutal. It's zapped him and taken a lot of, just in any explosiveness he had before. It's just kind of been, negated, and that's kind of sad to see. You see that with, pretty much a lot of guys who pick up the Achilles injury, they're just not the same. But I think De'Ron, he's rolling up his sleeves, he's working, he's trying. He's trying to get back, get comfortable, push himself into game shape, and I think you got to give him credit for that. And I think he could be a solid, serviceable player off the bench for Archie and his staff. And I think he could be a guy that gives you minutes here in spurts that can, maybe make teams pay for playing, small.
Absolutely, and the good thing for Indiana is they will not play a team again this year unless they meet Duke in the NCAA tournament. They will not play another team that has the talent that Duke has. My gosh, those four freshmen outscored the IU team. But that's an unbelievably talented team. Indiana will not have to face that again this year. But they will have to face some good teams in the Big Ten. The Big Ten looking strong. They split the Big Ten, ACC Big Ten Challenge with the ACC. Purdue losing that game against Florida State in the last few seconds was the difference maker between winning that and just tying. But
Thanks,
the Big
Purdue.
Ten, but the Big Ten looking strong, and Michigan is looking, to me, has emerged as the probably the leader in the conference.
Yeah, Michigan it's kind of a lot different than last year. They had the offensive team that spread the floor and all that. They still do that, but they're defending at a higher level, a much higher level. They have a lot of versatility with, Brzezikis being the freshman from Canada, and then, something that people, tend to forget about is with him. Yes, he's, having a really good freshman season, but he's an older freshman. He's pushing the 19 on the age, and that's a lot. That's a lot of those, Canadian guys. That's kind of where they're at. But I found that was interesting, and I think that definitely helps with his maturity. It's made the transition easier for him. And Michigan's looked, really good so far, and they, Charles Matthews and those guys, look poised for, a deep run in March, and they can continue to play well over the course of the season. But the Big Ten is much improved from a year ago, and I think it said a lot about the conference that they big tide in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, because the ACC is a really good conference, and I think that shows that the Big Ten may have taken a positive step, a step in the right direction this year.
Yeah, and the Hoosiers open up Big Ten play early. Big Ten play opens up early again this year because of going to the 20-game schedule. But Northwestern Wildcats, they come into town to Bloomington tomorrow for an early afternoon game, 1 o'clock. That game's at 1 because of the Big Ten championship that Northwestern is playing in that night. So fans can they made arrangements so that the Northwestern fans could go to the game. But with the Indiana opening up Big Ten play against Northwestern, at least at home, that gives them an advantage there. But it's time to get it started.
Yeah, Northwestern's a team that's coming in, and I believe they beat Georgia Tech in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, and they do have one loss. They lost to Fresno State earlier in the year, which is it was a pretty convincing win too for Fresno State. And
I thought you said Fargo State. I was like, who?
No, Fresno State, but things are a lot different up there this year. It's the first time they've played without Bryant McIntosh and Scotty Lindsey in the last 4 years, and it's obviously going to take some time, but they're led by senior forward Vic Law, who's been a mainstay in the program. He's having a good season, and obviously they brought in some transfers. You look at a guy like Ryan Taylor that was once on the IU radar last spring, and then you got the another regular and Derek Farden and some of those guys, but. This is a game Indiana should win. They have some nice pieces, but Northwestern's is still a team right now that's trying to figure things out. And you're on your home floor. It should be a pretty convincing result for Indiana.
Absolutely. DrewDavisPeaks.com. Thank you, sir. We'll see you at the ball game tomorrow.
All right, man. Take it easy. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds great. DrewDavisPeaks.com. Indiana Sports Beat coming right back after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural. You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Come on along. Welcome into another Friday edition of Indiana Sports Beat here on this November 30th. Hope your day's off to a great start. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking us along for the ride. Jim Coyle in here with you. Hope your day is getting going. Justin Kalen high atop the Crew Chiefs box as well.
That's right.
Big weekend in sports coming up. A lot has gone on this week. Big program today. We've got Lance Stemler on the show, former Hoosier basketball player. Kirk Haston on the show, former Hoosier basketball player, and newly elected state representative in Tennessee. We'll talk to him. Looking forward to that. Before we do that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
Right here are your headlines for this Friday, November 30th. Brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. The Cowboys defeat the Saints 13-10 last night on Thursday Night Football, snapping the New Orleans Saints' 10-game winning streak. Big weekend upcoming for the Hoosiers. Men's soccer hosts number 13 Notre Dame tonight at 7. And the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament with an opportunity to go to the College Cup on the line. Basketball starts Big Ten play versus Northwestern tomorrow at 1. Make sure you follow Indiana Sports Beat on all social media to stay informed on your Hoosiers this weekend. Those are your headlines brought to you by Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart, located on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
Absolutely. Hope you're ready for the weekend, because I certainly am. Long week. Spent part of it down in North Carolina for the trip down to Duke for the Indiana-Duke game, and back now. Big Ten play opens up tomorrow. Soccer tonight as Indiana going for yet another trip to the College Cup. We need to look up. I should know that. I forgot how many times they've been to the College Cup, but it has been a lot, probably more than any other college program in the country. And tonight is their opportunity to add to that, but they take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, ranked 13th in the country, I believe, and Indiana ranked number 1. But this is going to be a tough, tough match. Yeah. It's a rematch of a game Indiana won 1-0, but a very, very, very hard-fought match. But Indiana has not been beaten at home in quite some time. Hopefully that aids to their side. I'm sure there should be a great crowd, even though it's going to be chilly up there. Yeah. But looking forward to this. You talk about this is just good old-fashioned soccer here. Indiana and Notre Dame both with great programs. It's going to be a great match. I've really become a soccer fan.
Yeah, and they make it easy to become a soccer fan.
Well, if you the thing is, I grew up not liking soccer, bad-mouthing soccer, and part of that is because you see the international soccer so much, like the World Cup, which is a joke. Not that they're not great athletes, they are. But it's all the flopping and the freaking, I'm like, you just want to go up and kick him in the ass and say, get off the ground, you faker. That doesn't go on in NCAA play. That doesn't happen at these games. What you see is remarkable athletes doing remarkable things. And you have to learn the game to appreciate it, to know the nuances and the rules, because when you do, it changes everything. Yeah. It's a very, very cool sport. But looking forward to seeing that tonight. I'll be heading up to Bill Armstrong Stadium to check that out. And then tomorrow, of course, Indiana opens up Big Ten play on the hardwood as Northwestern comes to town. The Wildcats come calling to open up the first of 20 Big Ten games for the Hoosiers this year. We'll get to talk to Kirk Hasen and Lance Stemler both about that.
The soccer team, by the way, has been to the College Cup 19 times.
That's what I thought. 19 times to that's the Final Four.
Yeah.
They've been to the Final Four 19 times. They've won 8 national championships. They finished runner-up to the national championship last year to two-time champion Stanford. Indiana looking to hang a 9th banner. Todd Yeagley looking to put up his 2nd as a coach. I wish it was closer. I'd love to go to that.
Yeah.
But Johnny ain't going to Santa Barbara.
I hear the weather's nice there this time of year.
Boy, you ain't lying. A little bit better than it is in the Midwest, that's for certain.
Hey, let's count our blessings, though. It's going to be almost 60 today.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Last day of November, almost 60.
Then if that's the case, then it ought to be great weather up there in Bloomington.
Should be, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going to rain, but.
Well, that's not good. I'll be inside.
That's right. You got a spot under roof.
Hey, if you get the text in, questions, comments. Kirk Hasen and Lance Stemler both on the program today. You got any questions for them, fire those in. 812-269-6367. Let us know what your thoughts are if you have any questions, like I said. Lots going on. Jeff Brom staying at Purdue. Big news. Shocker to Louisville and Louisville fans. And me as well. To me, it was just a foregone conclusion that was going to happen. And I think that 2 weeks ago, that was probably the case. But how things change in a short period of time. But it certainly didn't hurt that former governor and current school president Mitch Daniels at Purdue got involved. And if the rumors are true, his salary is going to be bumped up from what he makes like $3.8 million now, which is double what IU's coach makes. But he's going to be adding another third to that. Rumor is that he's going to be getting bumped up to nearly $6 million a year, which would make him that would put him in a group of the highest paid coaches in the country. Now, you've got Nick Saban at the top, making, $11 million a year. Jimbo Fisher.
Bless you.
Thank you. Could you hear that?
A little bit.
I had to take the headphones off. It just came out of nowhere. But Jimbo Fisher with his big monster contract. But $6 million a year? It's big. I don't think Louisville can match that. Yeah, I think that may have been the difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't think Louisville, not at this point, they just paid $14 million just to get rid of Petrino, just to get rid of him. And then they would have had to have paid a $4 million buyout for Brom. And if a $6 million a year at, say, I don't know, 5 years, how much is that?
$30 million?
Yeah, exactly. You remember how much, what I said, the hit that it would take for Louisville to get that job done?
$40 million.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't even come close now. Even though I was told that I was off on my numbers, yeah, I don't think so. I think those numbers were actually very accurate.
Yeah.
I just don't think they could afford him, to be honest with you.
Now it's interesting going to be who does Louisville hire?
Yeah,
they're not gonna go anywhere. They're gonna stay down for quite a while. I can't imagine they get a big time guy.
Well, rumor is they're looking at App State's coach.
Yeah,
and Luke Fickell from Cincinnati.
Sure, that would be a good one.
And then Ryan Day, the co-offensive coordinator at Ohio State, who was interim coach this year during Urban Meyer's 3-game sabbatical suspension for the Zach Smith fiasco. He stepped in, went 3-0 there. He's not really considered a front runner only because I don't know that he would stay in Louisville long. Plus, rumors keep swirling about Urban Meyer not being there next year. Hell, he's not going to go anywhere if he thinks Urban Meyer's leaving.
Sure.
And getting back to Jeff Brom, that's another thing. I think that his next job is not going to be a lateral move to Louisville, which I fully expected that to take place a couple weeks ago, but things changed, and his next job is going to be at an Ohio State or an Oklahoma or a Texas, someplace that is, or even Notre Dame. Hey, that could be the next job for Jeff Brom.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
When things go awry up there for Mr. Kelly, Louisville has a unique relationship with Notre Dame, the city of Louisville. It goes back to whom?
Louisville?
Yes. Who was the Heisman Trophy winner from Louisville on the 5 and 6 Notre Dame team that always give you grief over?
Oh, it was
You didn't know who it was?
Gosh,
Paul Hornung.
There you go.
There you go. But it goes back to the Paul Hornung days. This unique relationship with Louisville has a big Catholic community, and so I could see Jeff Brom being the next coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah. I do think Jeff Brom will come back to Louisville eventually, maybe as a retirement spot. But yeah, I think I said early last week or even early this week, I didn't think he was going to go to Louisville. I thought he had it made at Purdue. And Joker actually just sent in a text to the show about Purdue's future schedules. Now we know the rest of the story. If you look at Purdue's future schedules, 2019, 2020, 2021, it's cake. They don't play anybody. I mean, it's set up for him to have success for years to come.
They have a top 25 recruiting class coming in.
Exactly.
He's got Rondale Moore coming back. If they could land David Bell, holy crap. We talked to Sammy Jacobs earlier from Hoosier Huddle. He talked about Sindelar's coming back.
Yep.
They're set up. He's going to be making bank, and they're set up.
Yep.
So
life's good in Jeff Brom's eyes.
Yep. So things don't happen the way we thought that they would, but you never can tell. But we got to take a break. When we come back, Lance Stelmer's on the show, former Hoosier player. Stay tuned. Get the text ready, 812-269-6367. We're back here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
Writings on the wall. Very superstitious. Letters about to fall. 13-month-old baby.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes. Today's guest is brought to you by Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center, located 5 miles north of downtown Louisville, just off of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, November 30th. Man, we're about into December and getting close to Christmas. And speaking of a Christmas present, we've got Lance Stemler on today. Lance, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How's life going?
Oh, it's going. Chasing kids around and trying to fight off some sicknesses in the house. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, it's that time of year, unfortunately, but it keeps everybody bouncing. If you don't know that, Lance is with Logan Lavelle and Hunt, local or statewide insurance company. How's that going for you?
It's going good. I'm about 2 months in here and just plugging along. January 1's a big date for us, so staying busy, leading it, trying to finish out the year strong, and then get going on next year.
Kind of like sports, you got to finish the season strong.
Exactly. Finish every play, every 4-minute segment, every half strong, and that's what and then start the next one even stronger. So that's what I'm trying to get built up now and get my name out there and kind of do that thing.
Absolutely. Transfer that over to the court. Indiana, not exactly doing those things right now. Of course, part of that's been because of some of the talent they played. Duke was one of the exceptional talents, but even in that game, it did expose some weaknesses on IU's part.
It did, and I watched the majority of it. I had a hard time. I had to flip the channel because I was kind of mad at first, but I mean, that's a tough. Number one, that's one of the most talented teams in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
Coming off a loss, going to their place. I mean, and just the exposure and the experience for our IU's young team, I think is huge. But I mean, it just shows a level of mental toughness to go on a road and be ready for that kind of game. And hopefully that they learn from that going into Big Ten season.
Yeah, there was like I said, a lot of things. The youth came to the forefront. Rob Finney, who's had a very good year, but he had kind of a tough go down there. But that is a rough environment. Justin Smith did not have a great day either. But at the end of the day, I look and I'm like, all right, man, they lost by 21. That's not great. But, man, they only lost by 21 to Duke, at Duke, on the heels of them coming off of a loss. I'm like, and as bad as Indiana played, I'm like, that doesn't seem as bad all of a sudden, because as poorly as they shot the ball and having 20 turnovers and to only lose by 20.
The turnover thing is huge, exactly. And you're right. If you look at the stat line, I saw a graphic, I don't know if it was on your page or somewhere, but it showed the stat line of shooting percentage, defense, field goal percentage, all that, and we weren't that far off. And for as bad as we played, or as bad as they looked at the eye test, because like during the game you're thinking, oh my, just some of the turnovers and then to be able to bring it down to 21 and kind of hopefully build some confidence on that. But definitely learning experience, and I'm sure Coach Miller will have them ready going into the conference.
How impressive is it for someone like Rob Phinisee, who a year ago was playing in high school? Now he's getting baptized by fire. He just had a game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, probably one of the, besides Simon Scott Assembly Hall, one of the toughest places to play college basketball in America.
Absolutely, and it's welcome to high-level college basketball. You don't get to ease in anymore, so it's and like I said before, it's just that experience should go a really long way come conference season. That's why you see those freshmen really, and it's not just IU's freshmen, it's all freshmen in the country. You'll see them early in the year, and then by the end of the year, they're not freshmen anymore. They're playing experiences what a sophomore used to be, because they're, like you said, baptized by fire and thrown in there. So each little segment along the way, they should be getting better.
Talking with former Hoosier player Lance Stemler. Do you remember your first big game, the excitement, the nervousness, all the things that went into it?
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, the first big game, my junior year, when I transferred in, it was at Duke for a Big Ten ACC Challenge. And unfortunately, that week during practice, I caught Xavier Keeling's heel on the side of my head diving on a ball, and was out for a concussion. So I got to go through basically taking those tests all week long. I got to go through everything leading up to the game, and right before game time, they snatched me and said I'm not playing. So it was unfortunate, but that experience, just being there, being on the bench, seeing the team go, was kind of an eye-opening experience for me. Coming from a junior college, and that was the first real road test that we had. So it was definitely that learning experience that I talked about.
Ironically, Race Thompson going through something similar. He's been out of action for an extended period of time under concussion protocol, which normally that doesn't last that long, but he's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, and those things are always scary. Like I said, when I went through mine, I lost about a day of memory. Like it wasn't anything to play with, and they were very cautious with me. Which, looking back at the time, on that trip at the hotel, I'm begging and pleading, and you gotta let me play. You have to. And was kind of upset about it at the time, but looking back, those aren't things to play with, especially this early in the year, because you're so susceptible to another one if you don't get it right. So, I mean, they have the best trainer in the country with Tim Garl, so I'm sure they're all being taken care of. So, but hopefully he'll come back and get back into the swing of things. And I mean, at the end of the day, all you want is your best team on the floor come the end of the season.
Yeah, and they've not been able to do that. They've been not just Race Thompson, but they were without Devontae Green, without Zach McRoberts, both who are back playing now. Deron Davis has been a great surprise to me. He's coming back from not only that Achilles injury, but was dealing with some other things after he played a lot of minutes in that Arkansas game. But he's done a hell of a job to me coming in, and when he's in there, he's definitely given his effort.
Absolutely, and they all have, and seeing McRoberts and Green back on the floor is exciting. So as they get back in the groove of things, and that talk about being thrown back into the fire after sitting out, having Green and McRoberts just get thrown back into Duke. There's not really time to ease into that one. So, so hopefully, like I said, and I'm sure Coach Miller knows it's a process for all of them. And his only goal is to have the best team he has at the end of the season, not right now.
And absolutely, they open up Big Ten play tomorrow at 1 o'clock with Northwestern coming to town. So they have to bounce back from the road loss at Duke and get things going, because Big Ten play opens right now, and every game in the Big Ten is important, because when you go on the road, that makes it greatly exacerbated the troubles. But when you have a home game, you've got to take care of business.
Correct, and that's the goal. And I think my junior year we ended third in the Big Ten, and I don't know that we won a Big Ten road game. Maybe one, possibly at Northwestern, if I can remember right, but or maybe at Penn State. And we finished third, but we did not lose at home, and you can't. And that, I'm sure that mantra and that thought process is going through them right now is we got to protect home court. And the one thing IU has is probably arguably the best fans in college basketball behind them. And that place, when that place gets rocking, it just lifts you up and gives you that extra little bit of energy to protect that home court.
Romeo Langford has played well for Indiana. A lot of expectations coming into the season on what he could do, but he has certainly shown that he can score the basketball no matter who he's playing against or with. That's one thing he can do, is score the basketball.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, to me, which I live down near New Albany, so granted, I was spoiled the last 4 years and got to watch him play quite a bit. But what has surprised, and everyone kind of knew he was a scorer, what surprises me, or what kind of has stuck out to me, is all the other little things that he's been doing. As far as, taking charges and sitting down and really playing defense and rebounding, using his length, and really finishing around the basket more so than just being a jump shooter. Honestly, I've been very impressed with, and that's coming off seeing him play in high school quite a bit. Quite impressed with how he's played this year.
Yeah, the thing that strikes me is it doesn't matter if he's playing Loyola Chicago or Duke or Floyd Central High School. He plays with the same effort every time and the same resolve. He has no fear. He's just playing his game, and it doesn't matter who's in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's probably one of his best attributes, honestly. And he's played against the best of the best in AAU throughout the years, and so he's not scared of anybody. He's not scared of any environment, and that says a lot as a freshman. And he just goes and does his thing. Like I said, it's the little things that have impressed me, and really kind of showcased his length and his overall game so far this year.
The turnovers have been a problem for Indiana. That's something they definitely have to get rid of, or at least minimize. What do you think is contributing to this high number of turnovers, besides the Duke pressure, of course? But they've still been turning the ball over too much.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Miller's working. The whole coaching staff, they're working and hitting on that. It's not. That's probably I would imagine an area of focus. But it's just a matter of being young, getting used to that pressure, getting used to that length for those freshmen that aren't used to seeing that day in and day out outside of game-like competition. And I go back to, you look at Virginia. I watched the Virginia game the other day. I think they had 2 turnovers and against a good team. And it's like, but they're juniors and seniors, and they shouldn't be turning over. So it's a matter of, like I said, it's a process, and they're working on it, and I'm sure they'll hopefully by the end of the year, get better at that. And the style of play also comes into that too. If you're trying to push it and really trying to get up and down and score, you're going to see some more turnovers than what is slowing down and the grinding type of game that a team like Virginia plays. So it's a style, it's an experience, it's just kind of everything put together. And like I said, hopefully by the end of the year, you don't see near as many of those same turnovers.
What are you expecting against Northwestern for Indiana tomorrow, Lance?
Hopefully just a step forward, cut down on the turnovers, playing with more confidence, making those easy plays, easy passes that they missed out on at Duke. Because making shots and doing that comes and goes. But if you have a consistent effort on the defensive end, which Coach Miller's teams do generally, and then you cut down, do all of the little things, turnovers, free throws, those things, you give yourself a chance to win every game.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to it, hoping they can get off to a great start. That game in Bloomington at 1 o'clock tomorrow. You making it up for this game?
I will not be there. I will be at a biddy ball game with my 6-year-old, and I will be scrambling to catch the end of it. It'll be on DVR, though, too.
Perfect. Lance Stemler, former IU great. Thank you so much for joining us, bro. We appreciate it as always. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Lance Stemler, former Indiana basketball player, with his thoughts. Brought to you by Kentuckiana's Premier Truck Center. Whether it's one truck or the entire fleet, like Kentuckiana Premier Truck Center, take care of your needs. Specialists in Volvo, Hino, and Cummins, among many, many others. They'll take care of the entire fleet for you. Give those guys a call, whether it's in Louisville, Clarksville, wherever you need them, they'll get you taken care of. That's going to wrap that segment up. We've got more coming back. Kirk Haston on the program when we come back. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beads right back after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural. You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer. Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, November 30th, the last day of November.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day.
More of that. They may think there's a better present out there after they listen to somebody that's been up for about 7 minutes, so I'm going to try my best to sound coherent.
Oh, you're always incredible. Actually, earlier in the program, we played the clip from last year's Derby, in which you made the Derby call on your own horse. It was one of the classics of all time.
I knew. I figured that everybody usually just, when you said you wanted to make a call for the Derby or a horse, I thought, well, they probably just want a normal, just give them one of the ones that's in the race already. I thought, well, what if I just gave them one that wasn't in the race? And I thought, how would that sound? And so I was actually supposed to I was playing in a golf tournament that day, and I think it really cost me 2 or 3 strokes because I was kind of practicing it in my head, as I was playing, and I really wasn't focused the way I should have been. But,
well, you nailed it, man. You nailed it when it was time for it. I'll tell you, you hit a home run. It was worth the practice.
Well, I'm glad all the years of schooling and education and going through Coach Knight's practices paid off in that performance.
Absolutely. And speaking of Coach Knight, the 30 for 30 on ESPN ran last night. The last days of night. Were you able to catch that?
I did see some of it when when it came out on I think it came out on like the ESPN app a month or two ago. I saw some of it then. I watched enough to know that it was going to be kind of one of these kind of typical attack pieces, and I'm I've seen a lot of it and experienced some of it in person, and I could just tell it was going to be sensationalized pretty well, and so I didn't watch it last night, and I talked to a couple of former teammates when it first came out, and we I don't know, it just seems like a lot of it's just going back over things that everybody's experienced before, and I know that he's got some I don't know, but I don't know. There's at some point where you just hope that people can kind of move on and realize that there's a man that made some mistakes, but there's a lot more good in him than what I think a lot of the media would like to portray him as having.
Well, that has certainly been beneficial to you. He's only endorsed 2 people in politics, in all of politics. One of those is current President Donald Trump, and the other is future Governor Kirk Haston.
Well, one step at a time, but yeah, he is 2 for 2. So we did pull out we had a very very tight primary in the Republican race, and there was 3 of us, and there was 12,000 votes cast, and I ended up winning by 189 votes in the primary, and then after that, the general election went a lot smoother. It was about 81. I think it was 81% to 19% that I won in the general. So that one went a lot better. But yeah, the primary, I went to the day of the election. I went to one of the polls, and I was just going around to the neighboring county, just kind of talking to people. And this one guy came up to me and he said, "Haston?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I got to tell you something." I said, "Okay." He said, "I didn't vote for you." And I said, "Well, okay." And he said, "I got to tell you, though, I went to one of the candidate forums, and I left, and early voting had already started, and I'd already voted, but I went to the candidate forum, and I left that candidate forum, and I told my wife I voted for the wrong person, that I should have voted for you." And I said, "Well, that's okay. I appreciate you saying that, but if I get beat by 1 vote, we're going to have to talk." Well, that night, watching the coverage on television, about 3 or 4 hours in, it was about 10,000 votes had been cast, and I was winning by just 1 vote. And I was like, this thing, if I do end up getting beat by 1 or 2 votes, I am going to have to look up this guy. We're going to have a chat. But it did turn a little bit later, and I squeezed out the 189 vote win.
Awesome, and this goes back. This is I don't want to know if to call it a family tradition, but the service in your family goes way back, and you're a 3rd-generation teacher. Your mother was a teacher, and tragically we lost her in a tornado accident. But she's been kind of the inspiration for all these things that you've done. You're a teacher in Tennessee and now a representative for that state. But all that stuff, from what I understand, you get a lot of inspiration from her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really amazing if you look back. Just anything that you would check off that I've been fortunate enough to do on my career resume is just a direct link to her. I mean, the basketball came from, she told me early on that she saw that I had some ability, and she said she didn't make me get a summer job even though she was a single mom and we could have used the money, but she didn't make me get a summer job because she said if you'll work on your basketball game, that can pay off someday more than, working at Sonic, so if you'll put in the work, I'm not going to make you do a summer job. So my summer job was to go to the gym and work out. And then, when I wrote the book about playing for Coach Knight, she's the one that gave me the journal and said, "Hey, you need to take some notes about doing this. You're going to want to remember this stuff someday." And so, and then, and she was a leader, and tragically, when I did lose her, so many people in this area, in my county and some of the surrounding counties, just the way that they stepped up and helped my family and I, and just was there for us. That's one of the seeds of wanting to come back and in some capacity try to serve and try to give back a little bit because people have been so good to me and to her over the years.
Talking with former IU great NBA player Kirk Haston, and it's a remarkable story. And now that you have gotten the position, you have been elected, do you have any future? I know it's putting the cart before the horse, but are thinking way down the road, do you have any aspirations? Right
now I'm really, really just pleased to have a chance to have this position. I'm not really looking at it right now as any kind of stepping stone. I told my wife it's a 2-year commitment, and I hope that I do well at it, and I hope I'm good at it, and if so, I'm going to hopefully continue on. But I told her, I said, if this is an absolute disaster, and I help run, and I in large part run the state into the ground, and I'm just a disaster at this. I said, it's 2 years. Anything can be repaired, and we can go back to just. I can just go back to just teaching. But now, I don't have anything else in mind that I want to do. To be honest, I'm just like I went up the second or third day that I went up to the Capitol, to my office. They'd give me one of these cards, and there's these little scan things on all the doors. And the second day up there, I was just like, what doors can I, what does this card open? And so I just went around the Capitol and just started scanning at all the doors, and the lot just kept turning green, and I just kept walking past security, and I was like, at some point they're going to just kick me out. I mean, but they just acted like I knew what I was doing, so I just keep acting like I know what I'm doing, and so far it's doing okay. So, but no, everything really gets kicked off mid-January when we get in session, but I have been trying to do some exploring up there right now.
Looking forward to that. I'm going to keep pushing for the governorship. I'm going to take over as director of communications, man.
Well, I'll send your resume in. It will start at the top of the list.
Oh, that'll probably put me at the bottom, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's got to be an exciting thing for you. It's a new venture. It's a new chapter in your life, and it's an opportunity for you to do things. I think that I know you're looking forward to doing good for your community and things like that. So it's got to be a very exciting opportunity.
It is. It's. I was just telling my wife this other day. It's really exciting and terrifying at the same time because it's the first job I've had that hasn't been connected with basketball. And even when I first got hired on as being a teacher, it was I started off as actually the coordinator of school health, but it was when I got hired, the superintendent's like, you would like to have you be a volunteer assistant on the basketball team in Hint. And so, ever since I've been basically 13 years old, my summer job, like I told you, but my job or my life has been revolved around basketball. So it's going to be a bit refreshing and a bit scary to venture out and see if I can do something else. And by the way, you really got to put a comma and a pause when you say former IU star, NBA star. I mean, it's a former IU star maybe, but just pause. NBA player, that's about as far. You can't put the NBA in an IU star too close. I have a pretty big comment. I was pretty excited to get 4 or 5 minutes when I was in the NBA. I am excited to start a new venture.
And talking about basketball, the Indiana Hoosiers, if you had a chance to follow them, the season off to a pretty decent start, or coming off a rough loss to Duke, but looks like they have a pretty decent team this year. Yeah,
I was really hoping that Gonzaga would beat Duke. I thought that it would have been a tough win to get on the road anyhow. But I knew once Indiana lost that game in Maui when Gonzaga beat Duke, I knew that one was going to be a tough one. I don't think that that's going to be an accurate representation, but I think much in the same way that Duke getting beat at Gonzaga, I think Indiana getting a loss like that early on is something that a coach really can use and kind of hang their hat on the rest of the year when they've got that. If you want to be, this good, look at how far we are from that. It's nice to have that carrot to dangle out there in front of players all year saying, you saw how far away you are from being a good team by what happened back in November. So I think it could end up being a good thing. It can galvanize a team to get beat like that early on.
Well, the one thing they have looked for, they will not play a team any better than Duke the rest of the season. That's for certain.
Oh, that's true. I've never, you can go back and maybe people kind of talk about the Michigan Fab Five a little bit, but they didn't have that level of draft picks on it. I mean, they had, basically right now Duke has 3 Chris Webbers at one time, as far as what draft picks they're looking at. So, Coach K can say everything he wants to about the media shouldn't build up expectations. He's complaining about that. And what I would like to just ask him would be like, well, what are your expectations? Are you going to be fine with exiting before the Sweet 16? Because I don't think you are with this team. So if you have expectations of probably nothing less than Final Four, then I think that's pretty much what everybody else is building it up as well.
You may have a new career in getting in the media because that's the perfect question, to be honest with you. And that's a question I don't know that anybody asked him. And I was in the room when he made those comments. And I was thinking kind of the same thing. I'm like, dude, you got a mini NBA team here. What the hell do you expect?
Yeah, what are your expectations? If you want expectations lowered, then go recruit the 32nd ranked player in the nation, and you can lower it yourself. But you can't bring in the 3 of the top 5 NBA draft picks and say, "Hey guys, let's ease up a little bit."
Absolutely. What's next for Kirk Haston?
Well, we play. We've got a game tonight. I've still got some coaching to do this year because I couldn't bow out of my coaching duties because the election was after the practices had started. So we actually play a team that is a neighboring rival that is also now one of the teams one of the counties that I represent. So I'm really going to have to be on my best behavior tonight, coaching where I'm going to be asking people to vote for me. So I can't be doing too much. I can't get too animated. Pretty much anything that you saw last night, if anybody watched that 30 for 30, I cannot do any of that tonight at this game, or I might not get reelected in 2 years.
No
That's
technical
basically where I'm at
fouls.
tonight.
You can't get a technical foul. You can't win by too much either. You got to win, but not win too much.
Yeah, I've really got to thread the needle. But the way that we played defense last game, I don't know if it's going to be an issue of me gauging how much we're going to win by. So it might be. It might not be an issue.
How much enjoyment do you get out of coaching as a former player, and now that your playing career is over, and you talked about basketball being such an important part of your life, but to be able to impart your experiences, you're playing for Bob Knight, playing at Indiana, playing in the NBA, whether it was 3 minutes or 30 years, you still that's an experience that most people just hear about. So to be able to impart that onto these young guys, I know that's a very important thing for you.
Yeah, what's probably the best for me is that I have, every 4 years I have a whole new bunch of kids that have not heard all my old NBA and Indiana stories. So I just get to relive them all the time, and the seniors may hear it twice by the time that they roll around. But no, it does help. It helps early on to have maybe a little weight with the guys that are coming in. They respect it some right off the bat, but kids are pretty observant and perceptive, and if you don't start delivering on some of your ideas and they don't see it translating into their improvement or the team's improvement, the high school kids are a pretty tough litmus test. They'll sniff you out in a heartbeat if you're not giving them ideas and you're not delivering as a coach. So they don't let you rest on your laurels for too long.
There you hear it, future governor of Tennessee, Kirk Haston, former IU great and NBA player.
There you go. That's a better pause. That's better.
Great friend of the show. Kirk, can't thank you enough. Congratulations, and I look forward to talking to you more and seeing how your experiences are being a representative of the great state of Tennessee.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kirk. Have a great weekend. Kirk Haston, former IU great, joining us here. Very, very fortunate to get to talk to Kirk from time to time. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, of course. Pizza, burgers, beer. Can't wait to hit that up for lunch today. It's been a minute. Been traveling a lot, but love having Kirk on the show. Golly, he's always just it's just always a blast when he comes on. It's just like pull the string and get out of the way.
And get them abs ready because they're going to be hurting by the time the interview's over.
Oh, my
God. He's a funny guy.
Dude is a great storyteller. He's a great person. Just very fortunate.
And maybe it's partly for me, that accent, that thick Southern drawl.
Well, that helps. I'm sure that helps.
Gosh.
That's just all part of the character.
Yep.
But, yeah, what a great one. We had a great show so far today, or already today. Lance Stelmer was on before that. Drew Davis and Pigs.com, as well as Sammy Jacobs. If you didn't catch the full broadcast, you can find it on IndianaSportsBeat.com. You can also find it on Facebook, Spotify, Google Play, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Apple Tunes, whatever, everything they got, Apple Podcasts. We're going to give complete coverage this week in Indiana, taking on Notre Dame tonight in soccer at 7, basketball tomorrow, Northwestern. We'll be there. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle, and I'll see you on the radio.